Hello, I am Mac, at least for a day. Welcome to a game called Alone with You. Now, this is an indie game, of course, since I try to only play indie games, but I believe this one was made by just one person, because the developer is called Benjamin Rivers Inc. So I think Mr. Benjamin Rivers was the only guy that made this game. It is I think the gameplay is kind of like a point and click adventure, but it's mainly focused around the storyline. Now, I often say that I like minimalist narratives, but I do like a game that has a really good storyline. I don't like it when games are really wordy if the storyline isn't very good, but I think this game has a pretty good storyline, so I think I will enjoy it. Now, the premise of the game, I believe, is that you are the sole survivor of a failed planet colony in space, and the only thing left you have to talk to is the AI of the base of the station, and the artificial intelligence tries to. It's not an evil AI. This isn't a HAL 9000 situation. I think it's a benevolent AI that tries to comfort you in your loneliness by creating digital versions of your dead crewmates to try and keep you sane, keep you from being lonely. I think that's what the premise of the game is, but we'll see how it goes. So let's get in. Ooh, my controller's vibrating for some reason. Oh, okay, so it wasn't just one guy. It said music and sound by another guy. There I am. Oh, I can move. Can I interact with this stuff? Not yet, I don't think. So I don't know if this is some kind of device for communication to try and call for help, or what. If this is a ET phone home kind of situation. So I'm just right in. It's not telling me anything yet, which I like. Oh, design and story consultation by another guy, so it wasn't just Benjamin Rivers. Maybe Benjamin Rivers did most of the work, but he's also crediting other people that helped him. Return to Colony A. Doesn't show my face, it seems. I think because, you know, it wants you to play as, yeah, art by Benjamin Rivers and somebody else. So yeah, it doesn't show my face because I think it kind of wants you to role play and you are the player, so don't know if I'm a male or female because I think you play as whatever you are. So if I was female, I'd be playing as a female. Maybe not. Maybe it'll reveal. Whoa, what are those noises? Maybe it'll reveal what we look like later, but maybe not. I'm guessing it'll just make it a mystery what we look like so that we can just kind of add in who we think we are in our own mind. There's some kind of weird noise going on. Can't really interact with anything unless I'm pressing the wrong button, but it hasn't really told me what buttons to push. Oh, yeah, to the command hallway. Still can't interact with anything. There's definitely some broken electronics, all these weird noises going on. And imagine what this would be like if you were on a mission. Oops, it's the main hallway again. If you were on a mission to another planet like Mars and everybody else died, I know there's been movies about that recently, but imagine what that would be like if you were alone on an alien planet, nobody else. What would you do? Would you just give up? Would you go insane? I mean, if there was no hope of ever being rescued, if you were just going to be stuck there and have to try to survive with whatever means you had left, to the AI core. I think I won't go to the AI core just yet. I'm going to go to these other places. Oh, it's inaccessible. Is this inaccessible? Yeah. Can't go to those places yet. So we're going to the AI core. Sync mission data with the AI core. Ooh. I like these cutscenes. It's pixelated, of course, but they're still pretty well done, in my opinion. So that symbol's the AI. I'm glad you... Okay, do a voice for this. I'm glad you made it back. I assume you were at your usual lookout over the rift again. You must have seen the worsening situation out there. Did you notice the planet's instability on your way here? I noticed. I rushed. I'm gonna say I rushed, since I kind of did. Whoa, my controller made a noise. So this game takes advantage of the PS4's ability to make sound from the controller. I appreciate that. I won't waste time. Let's go over our situation. We may not get another opportunity. The situation is, unfortunately, quite dire. The Hudson Cartier terraforming project has failed. 16 years of work has been undone. I apologize for being so direct, but would it shock you to know that, by my estimates, we have less than a month to survive? What? I'm afraid so. At the current rate of decay, Epsilon Iridante B will be nothing but space dust in 3 weeks. We still have an escape ship here in Colony A. It is structurally sound, and I believe I can help you fly it so we can escape. If we can transmit an emergency signal to the home office, we can likely intercept a company vessel in our ship and gain transport back home. The problem is, there are 4 key systems on the escape pod that I can't repair, and you aren't trained to deal with by yourself. But I have an idea. It will require the use of our holosim chamber and a little bit of human connection on your end. You see, there were 4 other colonists who could have saved us if they were still alive. Winnie Laurier was our communications expert, and she could have helped us repair the navigation systems. Pierre Tong was the colony director and an engineering genius. He would have been able to assist us with the thrusters. Leslie Bardawaj ran the agrodomes, and I'm sure she could have helped us maximize the ship's life support and food processing. And Jean Lumumba led the resource management teams. He could have shown us how to best keep the ship powered and stable. You and I can head out to find materials and information, but only these 4 could have guided us in fixing the ship. But if we can use the holosim chamber to recreate these 4 key colleagues, they can still help us, in a way. I know it's a long shot, and it's going to be a little unusual, but if we work together, I think we can make it. So that's the plan. Before you go to your quarters, though, let's register your name, so the holograms know what to call you. Please enter your first name here. You can use a maximum of 12 characters. Let's just keep it simple. I will put my name as Mac. Is there a lowercase? I don't see how to set lowercase. Backspace. Oh, type key. No, I guess you can't do lowercase. Alright. R2 to confirm. Okay, you enter your name as Mac. Is that correct? Excellent. I'm glad we got that straightened out. For now, just head to your quarters and rest. You'll need it for tomorrow. Okay. So I go to the crew quarters. So I don't think I can go anywhere else yet. So I wonder what happened to make everybody else die. And why did I survive? So yeah, it seems that the AI is not just trying to comfort me, it is trying to help me escape and survive. So the other crew members are going to provide us with the information we need to get the escape pod going. Oh, I took my helmet off. Probably still won't let me see myself. Ooh, am I gonna dream about what happened, maybe? Maybe not. Day 1. I wonder if you can fail at this game, or if it's just going through the storyline. Good morning. I know you've just woken up, but as we discussed, time is of the essence. How are you functioning today? Are you well? I guess. Controller made a noise again. That's good. Your task will be easier if you're well rested. Please come see me again in the core at your earliest convenience. Oh, look at bookshelf. The shelf is full of titles on a variety of topics, including sociology, terraforming, and engineering. I'll never understand why people prefer physical books to their digital counterparts. Yeah, I prefer real books. I've never used like a Kindle or anything, because I don't own one. I don't own a smartphone either. So, might just be because I've never tried a digital book, but I prefer real books. It's the same kind of standard terminal as you'll find around the colony. We can't spare the power cycles for its use at this time, I'm afraid. Okay, I'm going to say something else about digital books. In the Dune book series, it's a pretty popular, famous sci-fi book series, but in that series, which was written in like the 1960s, he actually predicted digital books. He called them electronic film book. He called it a film book. They had a small device that had books recorded on film, and you could see the book, you could scroll through the book and everything. It's incredible that in the 1960s, a guy predicted electronic devices that you could read ancient books from. So that's pretty neat that he basically predicted the Kindle. You've left an empty photo frame, a rag, and some malfunctioning equipment here. It's funny that I couldn't interact with any of this until I went to bed. It's not the most comfortable bed, but it's all we have at the moment. At least with nobody around, you don't need to worry about its appearance. That's cool. Oh, couch. It's simulated leather, especially treated to always be comfortable. It's weird I couldn't interact with anything yesterday, but now I can. Look at note. There's a maintenance note that says YOSP and #away game on it. It also says Mr. Yoshida's favorite dog. think that's references to stuff. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what that means. I've heard of Yoshida's dog or something. That might be like a scientist or reference to another game or movie. Control room locked. Okay, it's cool that I now know that if you can interact with something, it says something on text, so I won't keep pressing the button on everything, trying to see if I can do anything with it. Because if you can interact with it, it'll say. Just head north to the core and we can discuss your mission for the day. Okay, Mac. Last night I scanned what's left of the colonies in hopes of finding material we can salvage. I think I found a few good leads. I think it would be best if you first go to the comms relay and find 5 communication devices we can use for the escape ship. The comms relay is where Winnie Laurier was last known to be. Hopefully you can find out some more information on her on your trip as well. When you're ready, you can go south to the shuttle bay and plot a course there. Oh, so all the stuff isn't in this building. We have to travel across the planet. So he said that this colony was 16 years old, so he said 16 years of work wasted after everyone died. Inspect drone. That's just one of the thousands of drones that used to help build and maintain the colonies. The poor little guy looks so sad, don't you think? Yeah. They worked tirelessly to keep everything running smoothly, but without power and maintenance, they're as dead as anyone else. So whenever I make a choice, my controller makes a noise. Maybe it's saying what I said, but it just kind of sounds like an electronic noise to me. Can't do anything else. That's inaccessible. Oh, that's the hollow chamber. We're gonna have to come back here once we get whatever we need from the lady we want to simulate. Okay. Okay, use the shuttle. So, is that where I am right now? To the comms relay. Currently inaccessible. Okay, so that's all the places we're going to be going. So I need to go to the comms relay. It's probably been a long time since you've been to the comms relay. I don't believe you had occasion to come here often, if at all. When the other colonists separated, this was considered a prime location, but only one person really had the expertise to make good use of it. Remember, you're looking for components we can use to power the escape ship's communications. 5 good parts should do it. Okay, so I need 5 parts. Oh boy, even from here I can sense how damp and musty it is in there. It probably smells to you like an old puddle. Huh? R2. This looks like a standard issue field notebook. Most of the colonists used these as well as data pads. The notebooks were inexpensive and easy to transport, and studies revealed that humans enjoyed physically writing on paper. That seems rather inefficient, but I suppose tactility is important in forming emotionally impactful memories. Speaking of which, this looks like, well, it looks like the beginnings of some sort of fiction. That's interesting. It reads, "The last interview with Paula M." Paula had suffered a long and arduous struggle against the dark, and now, in her final moments with it, she relented to its questions. These are the only pages included with this notebook. If we want to read the rest, we'll have to find the other pages. Okay, server room is locked. I'll have to find some kind of key for that. This elevator goes up from here. Do you want to go up? Yes. How are you doing so far? Do you need any help? Not yet. You are very resourceful, Mac. If you need a reminder about what you're doing while you're in one of the facilities, just press L2 and I'll help. Use elevator. Doesn't seem to be anything here. Is that a wet floor sign? Yeah, it's a wet floor sign. That's funny. Oh. Locker room is locked. Oh, these are rooms right here. To locker room locked. Bridge, tower bridge exit. You can go through here. It's a series of torn pages, likely from that notebook on the first floor. It looks like the story starts here. The dark. Why struggle? You know I've been here. I've been waiting all this time. Why don't you give up? Paula, it's not in my nature to just give up. The dark. Really? I'm not so sure about that. For a long time, even amongst your peers, you gave up. Or at least, you seemed to withdraw from them. Isn't that like giving up? I don't think so. That's interesting, because they did. The further you isolated yourself, the less you felt like reaching out. Didn't you notice that? Yes, I noticed it. I assume there's more. Maybe you'll find more pages as we press on. It's interesting though, isn't it? Sure is. I think so. Hopefully we'll get to read the rest of the story. We should continue. Something else to scan. It's an open relay conduit. It looks like someone had repaired this terminal more than once in an attempt to continue transmissions. There's some clever work here. Your scan will help me configure the ship's communication parts to be more redundant and fail-safe. Now we only need 4 more communication parts from this area. Oh, cool. So that was one of the parts I needed. Is that all there is in here? Oh, there's something else. It's a small pile of physical books. All colonists were issued data pads with e-reading capabilities, but I suppose that wasn't to everyone's liking. Kind of funny that we keep coming back to this idea that people prefer physical books over electronic ones. I wonder if that'll really be the trend in the future. Because right now, of course, a lot of people read e-books, but maybe later there will be kind of a trend that people will go back to paper books. Maybe, maybe not. But this game's kind of predicting that. There are assorted philosophy titles from old human writers. You can see very neat notes written in the margins. The first page has a monogram on it, W. Huh. Okay, I think that's it for this room. Still can't open locker rooms. I guess we have to go up more. This elevator goes up from here. Do you want to go up? Okay, another room. Conduit room. Conduit room. Systems administrations. Okay, let's go in these conduit rooms. It's a remote service panel for running diagnostics and checking alerts. It's been jury-rigged to allow non-standard signals. This work is unconventional, but I can use this to boost the signal in the escape pod's distress beacon. Now we only need 3 more communication parts from this area. There are certainly fewer components in the tower than you might think. I don't believe the drones finished fitting it as well as the others. As the construction of the colony's prefab elements continued, resource allocation estimates often became skewed. Too bad, really. Gotta make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, I did almost miss something. It looks like a further set of pages from the field notebook on the first floor. The story continues. So what made you change your mind? You're here, talking to me now. You wouldn't have entertained that before. What changed? Well, this is the end, isn't it? There's no one else out there, so I'm talking to you. You know that's not true. There are still others out there. You can hear them on your radio. But they don't know that. They don't know I made a new radio. No, of course not. That's what makes you so interesting. You withdraw, but in your way, you still reach out. You just don't want anyone to discover that. Paula falls silent for a moment. This story sounds like it's getting serious. I'm curious. Who are you siding with right now? Paula or the dark? Paula? She does seem in a dire situation. Well, let's keep looking. The story that I'm reading sounds a lot like myself. Someone that's all alone now. Or maybe it's Winnie. I think Winnie is the name of the woman I'm trying to find information on. I'm guessing she probably wrote this book, and maybe she's writing a story about herself, that she withdrew from the others and became lonely, and maybe the darkness is her loneliness or her depression. I don't know. Guess we'll find out. Wait, oh no, not down. No. This one. Systems administration. That's a standard issue bedroll. They are made of highly dense microfibers, so they're very lightweight and yet warm. It looks like someone has been using it as a habitat of sorts. Very curious. There's a hoard of old Earth technology on that dusty shelf. Amazingly, several of the pieces are still functioning. Someone must have collected these old computers, sound systems, and radios. Your scan will help me to fabricate something inventive for the ship, I'm sure. Now we only need 2 more communication parts from this area. Antiquated technology. There's kind of a theme going here of people in the future wanting to have older things, old technology, paper books and stuff. Of course, that's kind of a trend that's going on now. I've noticed there's a lot of desire to look at retro technology and other like retro games. Retro games are very trending, and of course this is a 2D pixelated indie game, which are getting kind of popular now as well. You found a hefty stack of books here. These ones are mostly adventure stories. You humans do seem to love these kinds of fantastic tales. The owner really did prefer physical reading, I see. They surely had access to digital versions of all of this. In fact, there was an entire database. As with the other books, these bear the W monogram. Of course, the reason I think that retro things from like the 80s and 90s are real popular right now is because adults with jobs like me that have the most money in the middle class are the people who grew up in the 80s and 90s. So I think that's the reason that's trending, is because that's where the money is. People who grew up in the 80s and 90s have the most money, so it's a good idea to do things that are nostalgic for those people, because that's where you can make money, making games that are about things from that era. Use security panel. It's a standard security panel. It must be what locked the other doors in this part of the relay. Are you going to turn off the security locks? Yes. An example of this is that in the 80s, there was a lot of popularity of things like from the 50s. For instance, Back to the Future. Back to the Future is real popular because he went back to the 50s, and in the 80s, the adults that were making the most money grew up in the 50s. So I think Back to the Future is really popular because it went back to the 50s. And now, things that are popular are going back to the 80s, which most of the adults that are making money are from the 80s. So that's just my theory as to why retro games and retro things from the 80s and 90s are popular right now. Those special foil wrappers were used for food and snacks, but of course you already know that. You know, it took over 10 Earth years of R&D to develop food that could travel such distances and still be palatable. Because of the efficiency with which Hudson Cartier transported colony deployments, a lot of food could be included. Previous colonial missions were less resourceful because of inefficient cargo and food stores. Of course, until the agrodomes were built, you all had to subsist on just these various portable stores. So agrodomes, agro is probably short for agriculture, so the agrodomes is where we grew food or whatever, most likely. You already turned off the security locks. Okay, so I should be able to get somewhere that I wasn't before. Oh. It's a portable safety light. They use sophisticated LEDs and can last over a year each. The lamp looks like part of a little setup, including a bedroll. Someone must have been sleeping here. Please keep me informed of any other interesting details you find. Okay, so I probably need to go back to a locked door I saw earlier. Yes, go down. I think it was here. Unlocked, there we go. Locker room. That appears to be a heat-absorbing synthetic blanket. It looks like it was hung up on that conduit. What do you think it was used for? A towel, a curtain, a blanket. Towel, a curtain, a blanket. I'm gonna say a curtain. I don't know. Perhaps it was used to block a nearby light. Though thin, those blankets appear dense to the human eye. Okay. A stack of pocket-sized physical books, I see. Looks like they're mostly guides to social interaction and workplace issues. I suppose whoever owned these books was, as you say, boning up. Is that what you say? What? Sure, not really. You got me. Not really. Oh, I see. Then they were practicing, or at least studying, in regards to social interaction. Curious. Used bedroll. Small books. Here we go. It looks like that portable terminal still has a tiny bit of battery life left. That model was known for being quite long-lasting. I can use your scan of its components as a guide for making the escape ship communications equipment more efficient. Now we only need one more communication part from this area. Okay. I don't know where else to go. I think this is... I can't... Was there anything else locked that I didn't go to yet? I think there might have been. I'm going to go back down and see where else I have not gone yet. Pretty sure I went in here and found... Wait, it says Tower Bridge exit. No, I don't think there was anything else in here. Go down. Was this door locked? Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is probably the last thing we need. We've scanned a still functioning terminal that is apparently hooked up to the tower's mainframe. I bet you that room is warm. The mainframe is unfortunately damaged, but the terminal you scanned can still help us. Good work. Well, you found all the components I need for now. When you've finished here, you can use the shuttle to return home. See if there's anything else. Check out. It looks like a further set of pages from the field notebook on the first floor. The story continues. So who do you listen to most? The gardener woman? The drone leader? The self-appointed director? The... William. Sometimes he still broadcasts in the old colony. He sends me little messages, actually. And why him? Why William? He was so important here. He kept things working. He kept things repaired. He was essential, and nobody really gave him the respect he deserved. So what? Do you think you can relate to him? I don't know. Of all of them, I think I just understood him the best. When he stopped communicating, it felt like the end of the world. Well, when you think of it, it might be. You said it yourself. Paula gives the dark a cold, long stare, the toughest she could muster. There's no point in arguing the inevitable. Paula doesn't say anything. That seems to be the end of the story for now. I wonder if William is in reference to Mr. William King, who was the maintenance chief in Colony B. So maybe the story will continue whenever we go there. So maybe Winnie, if she was the one who wrote these, was in love with the William guy or something? I don't know. Kind of interesting. Alright, so we got all this stuff, so let's head back. The comms relay appears to be in worse shape than I expected. But good work. It looks like you found what we needed for today. Go ahead and use the shuttle to come back home. Everything else is inaccessible still. Head back to Colony A. Pretty interesting. There keeps being a theme of physical books and other retro stuff. I wonder what that's all about. If that's going to be part of the theme of this story or something. That, like, the more we advance, the more we want to go back to the past, to our roots or something. I don't know. Excellent. You've arrived. Please see me in the core immediately so we can process your findings. Immediately. Okay, I've synced the data you scanned and collected today out there. Thank you for bringing this to me. I have good news as well. I've got the holosim chamber up and running. The constructs of the 4 colonists are already loaded. All 4 of them? I thought he was just going to be able to construct the one. They're already working on helping you. But due to the current limited availability of power and processing cycles, the chamber's a little shaky. You can retire to your quarters. When I've got the holosim stable enough for you to enter, I'll call you. Oh. His icon changed. I guess that means he's busy processing. Alright, so let's go sleep. End day 1. Mac, can you hear me? I'm sorry to wake you, but I need to show you something. I was able to make the final adjustments, and I got the holosim chamber nice and stable for you. I think it's best if you meet one of the others as soon as possible. So could you please go to the chamber in the South Hall? Okay, unfortunately I'm going to have to end this episode here. Sorry we didn't get to meet one of the holographic crew members yet, but we got to explore and get some interesting info about what's going on here. But stay tuned for the next episode, and the next time we will get to meet our first person in the holo simulator. So that does it for now. I'm kind of enjoying this game. It's got a nice little storyline going on. It's real mysterious, kind of has me intrigued. But for now, I have been Mac. Thank you for joining me for a day, and I'll catch you on the next day that I am Mac.